Check, 1, 2. Check, check, check. You think that this would be like a presidential rally or something where the mics don't work, so don't worry, we got all figured it out. Hey, so good evening, everyone, and everyone, welcome to tonight's Omaha REIA. Thank you for joining us, especially since I know so many of us are still recovering from yesterday's excitement or confusion or all around the presidential election, yeah. So we're here on Wednesday instead of our usual Tuesday because the REIA has to, make some room for some democracy also. So thank you for you guys for your patience with us. So we appreciate it. So to kind of kick things off, I just want to give some acknowledgments first off. I want to give acknowledgement to Realty One Group, which is our drink sponsor tonight. Woo! And we got Kim and Tim Stevens over there with Riley Eccles. That's our Realty One sponsor, our only real estate sponsor of the Omaha REIA, so thank you guys for doing that. Do one of you want to come see a few words on behalf of Realty One Group? And for keeping us hydrated or dehydrated. Yeah, so it can be caffeinated drinks. It doesn't have to be alcoholic drinks, right?
It doesn't. You can have whatever you want. Hello, everyone. I like to think that we are investor friendly and agent first at Realty One. And here's what I mean by that. We're only one of 3 brokerages in Omaha, Nebraska that allows wholesaling. I just found that out today. And I personally think we're one of the better ones that allow wholesaling, and it's because of the people we have at our brokerage. For instance, Mr. Ted Kosh, Wyatt Simon, Jeremy Murray, Ron Kendall, Mo Albers. When you start, and Jim, where's Jim? Edinburgh. We've got folks that deal with investors every day, and as an investor, don't you think it's important that real estate agents need to know what the heck they're doing? Yeah, so welcome. Now, as far as the agent front, how many of you believe that with everything going on in real estate right now, that there's going to be a real depression in commissions? Or people are at least going to ask, right? I think... Here's what I think. I think there'll be some downward pressure, but here's why I bring this up. If you're, we are a 100% model, and we don't charge you $500 a month or $1,000 a month for the privilege of being in a 100% model. So if you're at another brokerage, and by the way, I've been at a lot of them. I love all the folks there. But if you're in a 50-50 split or a 60-40 split or a 70-30 split or a 90-10 split, and there is a slight depression or reduction in commissions, what does that do to your income? It substantially affects it. What I'm going to suggest is coming over and just having a cup of coffee with us to see how we can do some business together, because I think you'd be pleased as to what we can offer. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Timothy. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys' support. So how this works is after the event, the best networking always happens. So go down the hallway. There is a bar and cocktail area. It only happens after the event is over, just so you guys know. So don't try to sneak out and get a free drink. But it's going to be draws. It's going to take care of. We have a dollar amount. It's going to probably take care of the first round for everybody. But come meet, mingle, talk to other people. And at the end of this, we always do the part where we have everybody raise their hands and what type of investing you do. So find somebody that you want to do, like, hey, I want to be a flipper. I want to do storage units, so on and so on. I want to flip hotels. There's all those people in this room. And so get to know those people, find out who you want to connect with, and go down there. Now, another thing is, there's going to be open mic later, and if there's something you're looking for in your business, hey, I have Airbnbs, I need a cleaner, I need a property manager, I'm looking for some other options. Those people are in this room also, so they'll be able to help you out. and talk to them down the hallway also. So that's what it's all about. Also, our event sponsor tonight is Frankel. Normally Jordan Downey would be here. The speaker tonight, they had a family sickness, so they apologize for not being here. But Frankel is a accounting sponsor. So if you need a CPA, they specialize in working specifically with people that have real estate or own businesses. They've been a sponsor with ours since 2020, one of the first sponsors that came on. And they've been a gold sponsor. They do a free hour consultation back to you whenever you use their services. I think that, how much is an hour with them? Is it like $250 an hour or something like that? And so take advantage of that. They offer it. So if you're even considering them, just reach out to them. They've been doing my taxes since 2018. And I would think I was first introduced to them through Jerry Schlickburn, and then Colin Schwartz and Chris Pomeroy and those guys were using them. They saved them $100,000 on the first visit, so super awesome. Upcoming events. I always want to tell you everything that's going on. You can find us on OmahaREIA.com. If you follow our Facebook channel, just go to the events tab, and I try to get on there every week or two and do a live newsletter, but we do send out a newsletter every Monday for just the events. And then on Fridays, we send out a separate newsletter just on the podcast. But we have our Omaha REIA luncheon, and then the next one's November 15th at the rail car off of 144th and Blondo. We have the back room. It's meet, mingle, and talk about your successes. This is all about you. We don't have a presenter. The worst thing you got to deal with is me sitting in front of you and talking about upcoming events, so I hope that's not too bad. But it's 11:30 to 1. It's free to attend. There's about 45 people on average that we've been getting at these events. It's been packed. So standing room only. The food is pretty damn good, I think, and just pay your bill when you guys leave. I can't tell you. It's like I'm starting to get notorious for calling people, hey, dude, I took a picture of the room I saw where you're sitting, you forgot to pay your bill. And they're like, oh, shit, man, I'm so sorry. So just pay your bill. It makes life a lot easier. We have a webinar coming up. It's November 21st. We had a guy named Casper Sogard that was on the podcast. He started, where is he? He's from somewhere in Europe. I'm brain farting. But anyway, he created the AI system for Amazon. And then he created the AI and commercial program for Hulu. He specifically has created a property management system he created the AI system and created the property management system around it. When we had him on the podcast, he was telling Owen and I that this was specifically, like every time there's a property management company and they want to bring AI in, they have to bring AI in to match the property management company model. So he built it completely opposite. The guy is a wizard. Where is he from? Denmark, right? Casper? Yes, okay, thank you. And so we're going to have him actually come speak sometime next year to the group. But we're going to do a webinar. It's November 21st. It's 11:30 to 12:30. It's just in the middle of the day during lunch time. The average price, you can get it as little as $1 or up to $3, depending on what kind of reporting system you want to manage your properties individually. Or if you're a property manager, they have a system for property managers also. But even if you have only one rental unit, they can help you out. And it's a cool AI system. I went through their whole program the other day just to learn more about it. And so if you put in all your vendors in there, and then you can put in your budgets you're willing to spend with the vendors. And the AI system will take the phone calls, talk to them like a human, put in the ticket and the issue that you have, and it submits it right over. It's going to be really interesting. I highly recommend you guys watch it. We'll tape record it too if you can't join us. But all that information's on our events tab. Mastering 2024 tax preparations. So Jordan Downey from Frankel is going to be our speaker December 3rd. So we want to make sure we get that in before the end of the year so you guys can do some tax prep. My conversation with him last year went like this. Ted, you sold a couple houses. You have some money you're going to owe. Go buy a truck. And so I went out and bought an electric F-150 because I could get the $7,500 tax credit and so on and so on and so on. And then I end up getting 5 figures back on my taxes off of his advice. So take advantage of that and discuss with him how he can help you. But these will give you tips. Even if you got your own great CPA, I'm not saying change the person, but come get this information and maybe you're going to teach your CPA a few things. I'm going to skip the luncheon, December 20th, it's always third Fridays. We're going to have a little fun with that one. We're going to do some dress up for Santa and maybe do, if we have some people who want to pre-register, we'll do some gift exchanges fun too. So everybody can bring like a white elephant gift. And then looking ahead, January 7th, Jeff Beals from Grow Omaha Radio Show. Jeff has been doing the Grow Omaha Radio Show for, I think, 20-something years. He's got a few more episodes than Owen and I do on our show. But he's going to come in, speak on Omaha growth and what's going on. And just more, I mean, you guys all see the coffee shops. There's a coffee shop everywhere. So he's going to discuss more than the 5 coffee shops in every street. He's going to literally get in depth about what is developing. Now, I brought this up before. He was the first one to break the announcement of the growth of the med center. And I was able to take that advice, and I was able to give that advice to some real estate investors that bought a whole bunch of rental properties that was in a specific area that was just north of Dodge off Saddle Creek because of the advice that he got from them. And that was actually the properties that you guys manage. So it kind of give you some background of that. And so take the knowledge that they provide. They know stuff that happens before anybody else. And then come in with your questions. Like if there's an empty, like I went to his presentation just a couple weeks ago, and I wrote down like 20 things. I'm like, hey, what's happening on 114th and Center? There's always condemned buildings. What's happening on 90th and Center? What's happening with, they're going to put that sports complex in South Omaha down off of, what street is that? Not Leavenworth. What? Martha, thank you. And they bought all the homes, condemned them. Well, you just said, hey, there's a recycler that's actually looking at that land. You learn so much from this. So don't miss that, January 7th. And so I do want to do a couple quick shout outs to our boosters. We already talked to the Stevensons, so I'm skipping you guys. But we have Tom Billiou over here with Thrasher. Tom, you want to give us a quick, he's also named Big Sexy. So if you see him, just say, hey, Big Sexy.
Thanks, Ted. Yes, like you said, I'm Tom with Thrasher. We specialize in fixing anything that has to do with basement, foundation repair, obviously structural repair and waterproofing. Also concrete, lifting, leveling, sealing. Gutters is the one thing that we've just gotten into over the past 3 years. And we have the strongest guttering system that is out there on the market now. And it's really important. I just am doing a project for MP Dodge on one of their apartments, needs $125,000 worth of structural repair, and it all stems from gutters. Third story gutter, nobody goes up there and checks those gutters anymore. They clog, and all that water cascades over, and just season after season. And now they got to repair their foundation, which is job security. But also we do garages. We own a company called Hello Garage. All the fancy coatings and the storage units. Is there a slogan? Oh, Hello Garage. No. Big Sexy don't do that. Anyways, I enjoy working with a lot of you. Typically, when you guys call, I got a handful of you that I can get out there usually within 24 hours and get things looked at you. Good, bad, or indifferent, I'll let you know what you're looking at, but I can also give you a price or direct you into situations where the holy trinity to our business, everything that we do is gutters, grading, and downspouts. If those things are taken care of, that eliminates a lot of things that we do. Thus, that's why we got into gutters. So anyways, appreciate you, and thanks, Ted.
Tom is working on a master class, so he provide some CE credit next year, so he's going to announce that here soon. But Tom, one thing you should do is if there's a member that you're working with sometime and they're cool with it, if we can do like a little live stream from the basement, and you could show some people what exactly to look for. I think that'd be kind of fun. I'll do the live streaming. You just point with your little laser pointer. How about that? Next, we have Ram over here. Ram is with JM Real Estate Capital. We got to give him a lot of extra love because Ram didn't get the notice that we weren't meeting yesterday. So he flew in yesterday and showed up here. So he's like, gosh, damn, I got to be in Omaha for 2 days. So these guys do fly in every time. They sponsor over 40 REIAs around the country. I don't know if it's true, but at least I was told that we're one of the best REIAs that you guys work with. So we do appreciate that. But I already got to owe him a couple drinks tonight because he's spent an extra day here. But find out everything that JM Real Estate Capital does, because anything to do with banking or even in business money, I mean, you guys don't just, I mean, there's a million different things that you do, and you guys are very easy to work with. So just got to present you the ideas and the issue, and you're going to figure it out, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's the most important. We are very easy to work with. So JM is my go-to lender for fix and flip loans, DSCR loans, and ground-up construction. And we also offer business lines of credit. So that can come in really handy if you want to use that for down payment, stuff like that. And everything else, I also do residential and commercial loans. But for JM, all your fix and flip, DSCR, ground-up construction, and you can go straight to the website. If before you put an offer in on a property, submit the form, fill out the whole form, make sure you select ROM so I get CC'd on it. You will get a quote within 24 business hours, and you can use that to help you, write an offer, et cetera. If you need a pre-approval letter, we will work with you on that.
Awesome. Thank you. Also, over here in this bucket, he always brings a couple books to give away. So tonight he's giving away Real Estate Investors, Conversions to the Top, and Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is a great book, by the way. And then this book was provided by Orange Property Management. Orange Property Management and Rob Church combined gave me about 30 books to give away. So big shout out to those guys. But we have 3 books to give away tonight. If you have a business card, throw it in here. Otherwise, there's these cards on here. Just throw your name on it and a contact, your phone number or something. Throw it in here, and we're going to give these away at the end of the presentation tonight. So, awesome. Can you give a round of applause for all of our sponsors, guys? Appreciate it. We do like to give a recognition to our new and renewed sponsors. And the reason that this is such a big part of it, and I don't mean to pound this down, is we are the lowest cost REIA in the country, and it's not because we're in Omaha, Nebraska. It's because of our sponsors. Other REIAs don't have this type of support from sponsors. They usually have like 3 or 4 booths in there, and those guys pay a couple $100, $200 to have a booth there. But these members are these sponsors. I believe we have 50 on the nose. I got to double check. National and local sponsors that provide back, and it's the reason we can keep these prices low. I always like to give a shout out to our new and renewed sponsors. Daily Record renewed. We have a trade program with them for advertising. They give us a whole back page. We trade ads back and forth, so a big thank you to Daily Record. Al from Trustworthy Title just renewed for his 4th year. So where's Al? Thank you for renewing for your 4th year. Al Nelson, we raise your hand so everybody can see you. There he is. Double hands. Al is really good with working with real estate investors. Is there anybody, can you raise your hand if you worked with Al Nelson? I know. Al, that's not enough, man. Not enough. Give him a shout. He's a good guy. He does you right. And then also, Motac is one of our newest sponsors. Motac, you want to come speak? Are you nervous? Does anybody know what Motac stands for? Maybe there would be a giveaway for that. I know it is. You get a 1 prize.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maggie Rasmussen with Motac, Metro Omaha's Tobacco Action Coalition. So you're probably like, what the heck is she doing here? So we work with property owners and managers on their smoke-free policies. So if you don't have a smoke-free policy, we can help you implement one for your properties. We can also help you with enforcement strategies. And then we do have a lot of educational materials that we can provide you with, and all of our resources are, of course, for free. So I'll be here the rest of the night if you want to come chat with me. But yeah, we are a sponsor, so.
If somebody has an apartment building and they want to use your services, what's that mean to us?
Yeah, so if you have an apartment building and you need help with if it's enforcement, so you already have a smoke-free policy, but you still have some people who are smoking, we come and we do educational series with them, so we can come and chat with them. We can host like a meeting with your tenants. We can provide you with window decals, door handle, signs. We can put smoke-free signs outside for you, like the big metal ones that you can hit into the ground. Yeah, and we can also provide you with cessation information to give to your tenants as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Maggie, I got a 5-unit Airbnb, and you can come logo that thing all up all you want. Just let me know when you want to come out. So again, we got the books in the back, so please fill that, give that over to Ron before we're done today. And last update before we invite David up here, just a quick update on the REIA Radio podcast. Last week's episode, we did Turning Challenges and Opportunities with Camille Duke. This Monday, we had our real estate rundown, where it's just Owen and I shooting the shit and covering some news and throwing some stuff. We're always open to ideas on this. You guys like the real estate rundown on Mondays by chance? Yeah? One person likes it, and it's my mom. Thanks, Mom. Oh, and we got a winner. And today's release is with David Welty, and it's all about title and title insurance, so check that out. If the biggest reward you could give us, I ask this every time, but we've had 3 reviews in the last month or 2. But if you guys get on whatever platform you listen to, specifically if it's Apple, if you could just give us a 5-star review and then a written review, it helps us out to get out into the community and let people know who we are. We're just a little local podcast, but we're interviewing some of the biggest investors in the city and also in the world. And we have great people coming up too. We have Craig Kurlopper interviewing this weekend. We have who else do we have coming up? Jason Dries, which is Brandon Turner's coach. We have Amanda Hahn and a whole. What's that? Mauricio Raul. That'll be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that one. So so lots of fun and great guests. If you guys know of a great guest too, especially locally, because we like that because we can drink old fashions with you, please let us know. We like that you have at least 4 or 5 properties in your portfolio, so we have some stuff to talk about. And but let Owen or myself know that you want to be on, and we'd love to chat with you. But now to the main event. And David, I've read this 4 times, so I could have it perfect. But hopefully I don't screw this up, man. So tonight we have a truly special guest with us. Please join us in welcoming David Dodge. David comes from St. Louis, Missouri, bringing over 2 decades of real estate experience. He built his impressive portfolio and has done over 750 deals, all without using a dime of his own money. If anyone knows strategies to succeed in this business, it's David. He's here to share some of his most valuable lessons he's learned along the way. David's reputation for teaching, inspiring investors are unmatched. As the founder of the Real Estate School, he has guided countless individuals towards financial freedom. His top strategies, like the Burr Method and wholesaling, have become essential tools for investors looking to succeed in today's market. But what truly sets David apart is his dedication to teaching in real estate and relationships and not just transactions. Tonight, David will talk us through the 10 lessons he's learned over his career, from mastering real estate, marketing business, to understanding seller motivation and importance to transparency and building lasting deals. David's insight will equip us with actionable strategies, whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out. And I'd like to mention that he is also a 3-time book author. And I don't know what he's going to do with these, but he's got some books. And so the 3 Pillars of Wholesaling in Real Estate, The Ultimate Guide to Wholesale Real Estate, and the Burr Method, Building a Rental Empire with Nothing Out of Pocket. And are these all on Amazon by chance? Nice. So without any further ado, can we get a Omaha and energetic welcome to David Dodge, please?
All yours. Thank you. Hello, my name is David Dodge, and I'm an alcoholic. Now I just got to break the ice, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you guys having me out. I haven't spoke in a really, really long time, so just bear with me if I get a little nervous with you guys tonight. Not used to big crowds, all right? So, but again, thank you for having me. Let's go ahead and throw the slides up if we can. I got 26 slides. And Ted, we got what, like 45 minutes an hour? How long do you want me to go for, bud? Okay, perfect. One of the things I want to mention is like at the end we can do a Q&A. However, I like to just do like just a group discussion for the most part. So if anybody has any questions about anything as I'm going through, just holler at me. You're not going to offend me, and I actually would prefer that. Also, before we get started, I want to learn a little bit really quickly about the wholesaling ban or law that's taken effect in this great state. Does anybody know anything about that could enlighten me or inform me about that? It's pretty new, is it not, Ted? Yeah. Okay, so it's not that new. Okay.
But the rules are just starting to came out in the last year. They said, hey, wholesaling is illegal, but then they didn't tell us what we could and couldn't do.
Okay.
So it's just in the last year they
So
released
is it illegal?
It is illegal, but there's a legal way to do it.
Okay, got it. So there's workarounds then.
Yep. So pretty much there's a packet of information, and you have to just disclose your intent.
Okay.
So my intent is to make a profit. My intent is to flip this. So you just have to disclose
So as
everything.
long as you disclose that to the seller.
And it's in writing.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could also just go find a fix and flipper or a landlord and just market for them. I mean, that's, that way you're not, it's probably a rule against marketing, I would imagine, right? Or is it more so about the seller?
It is the marketing.
Is it the
Yep.
marketing?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there somebody here that knows better than me? Because I'm just kind of spitfiring from what I know. Okay. So when we had Paul Chesky, which was kind of heading up this speak last year, he emailed us a packet, and if you guys want it, email me at ted@omahareia.com. I'll send that packet out to anybody that wants it. So.
Okay, awesome. Give me a hand up if you are already invested in real estate, just so I can gauge the room. We got, what, 70% basically? Amazing. Okay, cool. All right, can we get my slides? Gentlemen in the back, please. Perfect. All right, next slide. We're already through one. We got 26 to go. So I got about 20 years of investing in real estate under my belt. The first 10 years that I was buying real estate was completely passive. I worked different jobs or had small businesses, and I essentially would buy a property with 20% down. And I did that for 10 years, and I got 12 rental properties. And I thought I was pretty cool because I had 12 rental properties, and I had to save that money. And in the beginning, I was actually borrowing that $30K to buy a $150,000 property, the 20%. And then I would get bank financing. It was the traditional route, all right? After 10 years and 12 rentals, I met a guy at a REIA club, just like this, who owned 150 rental properties. And I'm doing the math in my head, and I'm like, I'm going to be 300 years old by the time I get to this guy. Like, how do I do this? What's the secret? And I essentially learned about marketing and wholesaling in the BRRRR method. And that's really what I've been focusing on for the last 10 years. So I did 12 deals in the first 10, and I've done about 1,000 in the second 10, okay? 700 plus wholesale deals. Wholesaling is really, to me, just a means to an end, all right? I love wholesaling, but it's not something that I wake up every day and I'm like excited to go do. Wholesaling really is just everything that I don't want to keep. Wholesaling really is just everything that I don't want to keep, but I do a ton of marketing, all right? So I've done a ton of wholesale deals, tons of fix and flips, hundreds of rental properties, bought and sold about $100 million in real estate, and quite honestly, I don't want to keep doing tons and tons of deals because it's a lot of work. And towards the end of this presentation, I'm going to show you guys what I've been moving into and doing more of, and I think you guys might like it, I hope. All right? Next slide, please. 24 to go. We're flying here. When I started, now this is not in the very beginning at 20 years ago. I'm 40. I started when I was 20. But when I was 30 and I met that guy at the REIA and I started learning, I was 60 grand in debt at the time. And yet I had 12 rental properties. I had essentially borrowed that money and paid it back, but I didn't like come from a bunch of money or have a bunch of experience in this game when I first got started. And this is basically going full time. I had these rentals, but that was just so passive. They were all bought full retail on the market through, on the MLS through agents. I did not get any equity in those deals. They were really what I like to tell my students is the wrong way to start investing in real estate. Don't pay retail. And, I'm not saying don't use an agent, but if you go on the market, the odds of getting a really good deal are going to be much harder than going direct to the seller. So I spent 3.5 months just spinning my wheels. Made a few offers, didn't get anywhere. I hired a coach, and within 3 weeks, I did 2 deals. And I made $12,000 on each deal. What was the difference between the first 3.5 months and hiring, and then after the coach, and then during those 3 weeks, was essentially, I asked him like 30 questions like the first day that I hired him. And he got frustrated with me, and he said, David, you're not allowed to ask me any more questions until you go get a property under contract. And I was pissed. I gave this guy $5,000 to sign up for his coaching program. And I was like, he's not even going to talk to me? Well, sure enough, 3 days later, I'm out in the field making offers, right? That's how valuable that was to me. And I made a couple offers, got some properties under contract, came back to my coach, Joe, and said, all right, now you have to talk to me. I got some of these under contract. And within another 2 weeks, I sold 2 deals, and I made $12,000 on each of those deals. So the purpose of why I'm telling you guys this is having a coach, having a mentor, having a group like this, OmahaREIA, is so valuable, all right? Having a coach and a mentor to teach you basically that the amount of offers that you make in this business is going to equal the amount of money that you make in this business. In the beginning, during that 3.5 month period where I didn't do a deal, I was maybe spending 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour at best each day. I was analyzing properties and looking at properties, but I wasn't doing what matters, all right? What matters? It's marketing, it's making offers, and it's following up. That's it. There's 3 things that we have to do to make a lot of money in this business, all right? So you don't necessarily need to go hire a coach and spend thousands of dollars. Learn how to do marketing, which I'm going to show you what I do here in a minute. Learn how to make offers, which is so incredibly simple. And then just follow up with those people that you talk to. If you can do those 3 things, you're going to have success in this business, I guarantee you. And I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaches and mentors and masterminds. And I came across something 6 months ago, after all of that time, money, investment, that has changed the game for me, and I'm going to share that with you guys at the end. I'm not selling you anything today, but I'm going to share that with you. All right, next slide, please. Any questions thus far? No? All right. Some goofy pictures of me. This is some houses that I like to invest in St. Louis, all right? Pretty similar to the houses that you guys have here. Every one of these is a rental except for the one on the bottom right. That was a flip. Next slide. There's a couple more goofy pictures of me. Every one of these are also rental properties that I own. So most of what I do is single family. I do some multifamily. I have a 40-unit motel conversion, which we're going to talk about that in a second. Done some 10s, some 20s, some 30s. Some commercial, but most of what I've done in my career is single families and very, very small multifamily. What you got, Ted? Let me change it up.
Get some feedback.
Oh, sorry. Is that better? This thing on? Okay, perfect. All right, next slide, please. 3 books, The Ultimate Guide to Wholesaling, The 3 Pillars, The BRRRR Method. I have a copy of them here today. I'm happy to give them out towards the end. I couldn't bring everybody a copy because I don't have that big a suitcase. All right, next slide. Okay, this is what I did yesterday. So this is the beautiful part of being a landlord. And for all of you in here that aren't landlords, this is something that you guys need to be aware of. Sometimes you're going to have headaches, all right? Right now I think I own 58 single-family homes, give or take. We got 6 inches of rain in St. Louis in 18 hours. And I had 4 properties that had water in the basement. The picture on the left is at 8 a.m. and you can kind of see the water at the top of the washer and dryer on the right side. And then I went back at 4 p.m. after we put a sump pump in and started pumping it out, and we got it down to halfway down the washer. So literally yesterday I spent my whole day pumping out 4, maybe even 5 different basements. All right, pain in the butt. but I still love rental properties, all right? I still love buying rental properties, but this is sometimes what you have to deal with when you're a landlord. All right, next slide. I don't have a clicker here today. This is my most recent project. This is a 67-unit motel that I bought. I bought this thing 2 years ago. It was supposed to be a 1-year project. Bought it for $1 million, used hard money. I don't use any of my own money when I invest in real estate, by the way. Bought it for $1 million with hard money. Budgeted $1 million in rehab. So far, I'm into this for 1.7 in rehab. So I'm $700,000 over budget on the rehab. But I still think I'm gonna make about 800 grand on this when I sell it. All right, this thing was 67 units. There was 12 people living in this thing that had been there for 5+ years. 4 people that had been there for over 10. And they rented it by the hour. That's fun. Yeah, it's an hour south of St. Louis where I live. Next slide for me, guys. And it's been quite the project. This is what some of the rooms looked like. Not every room, of course, but this was a good picture to add because this is an average looking room. The ones that were occupied were, a little nicer than that, but not much at all. Next slide. This is what it looks like now. We put a solar system on the roof, painted everything, new windows, new floors. Everything's all brand new. Next slide for me, guys. This should be like a bathroom in the kitchen. That's an excellent question, and I would love more questions just like that. So the reason we did that is because it wasn't individually metered. It's a motel, right? It was originally. It was a 67-unit motel, and we converted it down to 40 individual apartments. The cost to go in and individually meter the water and the electric was going to end up being like almost $300,000. So what we decided to do was just increase rents $150 per unit, pay that bill, and then offer the utilities included with the rent in the units. Well, in order to offset that even more, when we were obviously billing it back, but it's not exact, we wanted to put those panels on the roof, and then we also got like $90,000 worth of tax credits. We spent $230 on the system, but we got 90 in tax credits. And quite honestly, it was just something different and new, and we were just wanting to test it out. So ideally, we would individually meter it, but it was like the quote that we got was like $260 grand to go in and do every panel and the water, and it was just, we're not going to mess with that. Yeah. So one thing I've learned about the motel conversion, you guys are messing with my volume, is that it still looks like a motel, even if you paint it and put new windows in it, right? So I still think I'm going to make a good chunk of change on this, but that's definitely been one of the hardest things in the last couple of weeks as we've started marketing this for sale. It's for sale for 3.7, and I'm into it for about 2.5, 2.6, give or take. And most of the buyers, that's their number one thing. Well, it still looks like a motel. I'm confident I'm going to sell it, but it's been quite the project. All right, next slide. St. Louis, I stopped adding pins to this map 5 years ago. So all over the place is where I like to invest. I'll essentially go an hour in every direction, except on the Illinois side. I don't do Illinois. Probably isn't relevant to you guys, but I'll go in any neighborhood for the most part. All right, next slide. All right, this is probably what you guys all came for. 10 things that I've learned. This is obviously not everything that I've learned, but this is the 10 things that I always like to mention and teach my new students. This might be more relevant for the folks in here that are new to real estate, but I hope that there's a gold nugget in here for you guys that are already in the game. So number one, this is a marketing business. I kind of talked about that earlier when I hired my coach. If you're not marketing, you're going to get nowhere. So if you are new to the space, understand that marketing is everything. Marketing is going to be time or money, all right? That's it. That's all it is. And really, my idea of marketing is really, it's just a fancy word for getting people on the phone. So if you're not getting people on the phone by doing something, you don't really have a business. You can cold call, you can send mail, you can get a billboard, you can do radio. I mean, there's 100 different ways to go about marketing, but you gotta do marketing. The money is made in this business when we buy houses. You get paid when you sell. But you really make your money when you buy, and that's where the marketing comes in. You gotta learn marketing. I cannot stress that enough. Number two, there are two types of motivation. You need to know the difference. There's a motivation when a person is motivated, they are dealing with a distressed situation. And there's another type of motivation where you have well, I'm actually getting ahead of myself. The motivation, two types of motivation. You have people that are capital motivated, and you have people that are convenience motivated, all right? Most of the time, when somebody goes and they hire a real estate agent, they're capital motivated, all right? I always like to use this example when I'm working with my students, but if I was a real estate agent, which I am, and I went to try to get a listing from somebody, and I said, hey, I'm pretty confident I can get you like 60 cents on the dollar for this house. Like, you ready to sign up with me? Let's go. They're not going to be too eager to want to work with me, right? So, but if I go to them and I say, well, Zillow says it's worth $320 and the comps are showing $320 and it doesn't need that much work, let's throw it up for $330 and see what happens. They're typically going to be like, yeah, I like Dave. That sounds great. Let's do that, okay? I'm not saying that's how all agents operate, but agents have to sell themselves to be able to get the listing. And if I come in and I offer 60% to an agent, they might not even, this is unethical, but it happens every day, they might not even show that offer to the seller, all right? So you have capital motivation and you have convenience motivation. I don't sell capital, and neither should you. Unless you're that guy, then you should, right? That's your business. But as investors, we need to learn how to sell convenience, all right? We're going to get to this a little bit more in a minute. All right, we got to speed up. The two types of distresses is you have a person that's distressed, or you have a property that's distressed. And you can really hit a home run when you find a person that's distressed that has a property that's distressed, because you can make a lot of money, but you can also help them out in those situations. All right, so there's two types of motivation, there's two types of distress. Number 4, learn how to solve problems. This kind of goes back to the motivation. Getting some feedback. We are selling convenience, all right? We're not selling capital as investors. We're selling convenience. Number 4, follow-up is key. I have 10 years of data. I have 1,000 deals under my belt. And the average deal that I do takes me 4 months of follow-up. 4 months. It's not saying that every deal takes 4 months. But think about this. If I close a deal that's been in my pipeline for 7 years, it's going to skew my numbers, right? And the longer you're in this business, that's going to skew your numbers too. And you're going to start to see that your average is going to start getting longer. But regardless of the time frame, the amount of touches that it's taking is typically, I think I said here, at least 15. And that's what it is. It's at least 15 on average. We close deals every month that are 20, 30, 40 touches. What's a touch? A text, an email, a phone call, a door knock, a letter. It's something, right? It's some sort of marketing that we're doing. So you got to be persistent in this business. You got to learn marketing. You got to know how to make offers. And you got to follow up. You got to be persistent. All right, so number 4 is follow-up is key. Number 6, make friends above all else. All right, I have taught 17-year-old kids how to do wholesale deals. I'm teaching an 88-year-old man to do deals right now, and they're both having success, and everybody in between. And oftentimes they're nervous, they don't know what to do, they don't know what to say, they might not be good at sales, and I just say, screw all that. Just learn how to make friends with people. People want to do business with people that they are friends with, right? So you don't have to be good at sales or good at anything in particular. Just go out and meet people. Do marketing to find them, get them on the phone, and then get your butt out to the property to meet them. If you make a friend with them, even if you don't know what you're doing, they're going to give you a chance. And you will do deals. And if you already have 100 deals under your belt, you will do more deals. What you got? Yeah. So he said, to build out that kind of funnel, are you using any CRM system? So I am, but I want to just clarify that I'm answering your question right first. What do you mean by that funnel? 10 years of at this, or?
Of that.
Well, no,
I'll repeat it. Go ahead.
So,
Okay. Not quite drips, but touches. It could be a drip. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great question. So a lot of it's manual with myself, my team, VAs, but the CRM that we use particularly is ReSimply. I really like that one. I also use Podio. Don't do like me and use two systems. Get one. I started with Podio, and we also use it for managing rentals and doing a lot of other things. So when we moved over into ReSimply, which is way better, it's got a phone system, it's got automated drips, emails, e-sign, notes, tasks, lead stacking, list stacking, direct mail, driving for dollars. I mean, I could go on and on. There's 50 features in there. Amazing. Okay, ReSimply is awesome. Love ReSimply. They're going to make it really easy for you. They got the mobile app. So that is the system that we use. We don't do a whole lot of drips. In fact, I got sued for 30 grand for doing RVMs. I would not recommend you do RVMs. It is illegal to send a pre-recorded message to a cell phone. I learned that the hard way. All right, I actually got sued by 3 people, and it cost me 30 grand to get them all to go away. I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it because if you pre-record it and it goes to a cell phone, it is illegal. And what I did, and this is pretty stupid, and you're welcome to laugh at me, I'm okay with that, is I recorded the same message and I sent it to them every week. So it was pretty easy for them to know, hey, this is a pre-recorded message. So if you're gonna do it, don't do that. That's right. And that's okay. You can laugh. I don't mind. I learned the hard way. All right, back to my slides, gentlemen. Please. Where are we at? Okay, use business days. I'm going to try to speed this up because I know you guys want to have a beer and network. Business days for inspections. Think about this, guys. Never say, oh, I need 5 days. Always say, I need 5 business days. You're essentially buying yourself 40% more time. So I'll often get people that say, yeah, what do you need, Dave? And I'll say, I'd really like 15 days. And they say, oh, okay, they might not love that, but okay. Then I'll put business days in my contract, and I've essentially bought myself almost a month. All right, so always use the word business in front of days when you're doing your inspections. It literally buys you 40% more time. Number 8, never ask a seller how they are doing on a cold call. All right, is anybody in here cold calling? I still do cold calls. No one's cold calling? This guy? I'm the only one? This guy's doing them too. Well, if you want to do more deals, start cold calling. Seriously. I've probably done 300 deals cold calling. When you are cold calling, never, what's up? Batch leads, Deal Machine, PropStream. Those are my main 3.
and if you guys have questions too, we have a microphone in the middle, and then raise your hand. I can come to you, just so because everybody
Oh, for the thing? Okay, I'm sorry.
online, they
I
won't go.
asked for that.
I know. Just so you know, though, I'll run
Okay.
to you. So.
Hey, so I'll start repeating questions
please
too.
do.
He said, where do you get your lead lists at? Deal Machine, Batch Leads, and PropStream are my 3, and I subscribe to all 3. You don't need all 3. I just have students that use them, so that's why. But one of those 3 will get you every lead you need. But never ask a seller how they're doing on a cold call. Why? You get people calling you all the time. You do too. Well, what do you do whenever you answer the phone and I say, hey, Blair, this is David with ABC Company. How are you doing today? Click. Every single time. I get 3 or 4 a day. And I don't mean to be rude, but I'm busy. You sound salesy. You sound like you're selling something to somebody. So just remove the question. In fact, I don't typically ask people how they're doing until I've talked to them on the phone for 2 minutes. And then I'll say, oh, hey, by the way, I didn't even get to this. How are you today? But if you ask them how they're doing in the first sentence, the odds are they're going to either hang up on you or they're going to respond to you with resentment for wasting their time. A better alternative is, hey, I'm Dave from Household Easy. I own a few houses in the neighborhood. I think you might be the owner of this particular house. Are you? Great. Do you have interest in selling it? Great, tell me more, right? But don't say, I'm Dave with House Sold Easy. How are you today? You're going to get hung up on every time. So a lot of people, they want to cross me on this or they want to disagree with me on this. I've got 10,000 hours of cold calling under my belt. Don't do it, all right? Don't do it. Number 9, transparency is key to get contracts signed. I think I was talking to you guys on the podcast about this specifically. But one of the reasons that I feel that I am pretty good at this business is because I don't just go out and make friends. I do that. And I don't just go out and make offers. I do that too. But when I make an offer, I try to explain to a seller how I got my offer, why my offer is what it is. And some people will say, I like to be the first guy in the door, or I like to be the last guy in the door. I don't really care what number I'm in. I'm going to win. And the reason is, and you guys can win too. I'm going to tell you this. This might be the most valuable thing you learn tonight. If you sit down with the seller, especially if you're not the first one in, and you say, have you gotten any other offers? And they say, yeah, they sucked. Right? And I'm going to be like, I bet. You're probably not going to like mine either. But let me ask you, did they tell you how they got the offer? And 99% of the time, they're going to say, nope. I was asking 100, they offered me 40. Okay? And you can say, okay, well, do you mind if I show you how I, as well as all of my friends in the real estate space, make offers? And this is going to take 10 minutes. It's not a time-consuming process. But you sit down with them and you say, okay, well, we start with the end value, the after repair value. We do that by running comps. If you have an iPad or a laptop, bring it. Pull up some of the comps. Oh, look at this one. It's sold down the street. Look how pretty that is. Oh, it's sold for $360. Oh, wow. Look at the countertops. Look at the bushes. Look at the roof, right? And you point that stuff out. And you say, ma'am or sir, yours could sell for $360 as well, but you realize that it's going to take a lot of effort to be able to do that, right? And you start to get them to agree and start to see your perspective, okay? Next, you're going to say, well, you know, as an investor, we're typically trying to make at least 15 or 20%, right? If we're going to take all this risk and borrow money from our friend in the back and do this marketing and then buy this house and fix it up and then have to, you know, deal with the contractors and inspectors and then go list the property and then deal with the buyers and their inspections and the appraisers, you know, we're going to need to make a profit. So you're going to pull that profit out. And then you're going to then take the rehab out. And you're going to be able to, there's lots of different ways to explain to them the rehab. You can pick your own way. But using those comps we talked about in the beginning can be a good start. But if you essentially just draw the equation on a piece of paper, MAO equals ARV times your discount rate, which is usually 70% of the time, minus your repairs, and you solve for MAO, that shitty 40K offer, pardon my language, that all the other people made before doesn't seem so shitty when you explain to them how you got it, all right? And I've won deals where I've been the 10th, 12th, 14th person in, and I've won deals $10,000 or more below other offers because I sat down and I explained to the seller why the number was the number. And yes, it may seem low and it may seem shitty, but especially when you're dealing with an elderly person, taking the time to just slow down and explain to them how you are getting this number means the world to them. In fact, I bought a house about 3 months ago. I offered 95. The lady had a contract on the table for 100. It's not a big difference, right? But she could have called that guy and got 100. But I sat there with her for 30 minutes and explained to her why no one was going to offer her the 160 that she was asking. And I showed her the comps and I drew the equation. And I always ask, has anybody else explained to you why their numbers are so low? Nobody does this. Start doing this. You will win 3 times as many deals as you're winning now, I promise you. All right? Very, very important. So transparency is key to get contracts signed. And that's really just mostly at the kitchen table. All right, we're going to try to fly through the next couple things. Keep your sellers in the loop during your inspections. I truly believe that calling a seller every 2 or 3 days. You don't have to be crazy aggressive with them, and just keeping them in the loop is going to keep them off your back. I've learned that over the years. Last thing you want to do is, especially if you're wholesaling a deal and you don't intend to buy it and you can't find a buyer for it, if you wait till the last minute, you're not going to be able to get a time extension or a decrease on your contract. I usually try to get both. If I can't sell a deal, I want more time and I want a better price, right? But if I'm calling that seller every other day and I'm kind of filling them in with what's happening, you're going to be 3 times more likely to be able to get them to want to work with you again. It's all about making friends, just like I talked about on step number 6. All right, next slide. Anybody have any questions about these 10 things? And this is not the only things I've learned, of course, but these are the 10 things that I always try to teach my new students right out the bat. It's pretty straightforward. Perfect. Next slide, gentlemen. All right, this is the kind of marketing that I do. We're going to fly through this. Driving for dollars, cold calling, SMS lightly, not on the initial outbound typically. However, if I am out driving for dollars and I call somebody and they don't answer, I will text them after. I no longer, I used to do bulk SMS, but it's similar to the RVM play, and you can get sued doing that, all right? Door knocking, direct mail, bandit signs, haven't done that in a long time, but sometimes I'll buy like 1,000 of them and just throw them all over town. Online ads, networking, social media posting, radio. I actually am not on the radio right now. It's been a while, but I have done that for many, many years. SEO, pay-per-click, restaurants, and of course, social sphere. That's really it. I know that seems like a lot of things, and really I only do 2 or 3 of those things at a time pretty heavily, and then I'll kind of pivot. But marketing is the name of the game. If you're not doing marketing, you don't have a business, folks. We said that from the very beginning. All right, next slide, guys. Find and motivated sellers. So you can find deep discounts. You had mentioned earlier about lists. I love lists, all right? I typically get 1/3 of my deals from lists at this point. I get 1/3 of my deals from my network, okay? And I get 1/3 of my deals from other wholesalers, because I'm not just wholesaling them. I'm buying rentals and I'm fix and flipping, right? So the 1/3 of my deals, though, that I get from my list, these are the lists I go for right here. Vacants, absentee, probate, divorce. Driving for dollars isn't really a list. That's one you make. Networking, of course. High equity, seniors, tax delinquent, pre-foreclosure. I don't really do code violations all that much. It probably shouldn't even be on this slide. But check this out. 75% of every deal I've ever bought, which is about 750 at this point, the 75% is, have come from the first 2. So if you're new in this space or experienced and you're looking to do some marketing to a list, go for the low-hanging fruit. Pull your vacants, pull your absentees. Find your absentees that are vacant. Deal machine, batch leads, or prop stream. Doesn't have to be all 3, just pick one of those. That's where I get mine. There's 100 places to get lists. In fact, I think Jerry Norton even has a free software out there at this point now, right? But I get mine from those places because the skip tracing comes included. So if I do want to call or text or email those individuals, it's included with the lead. I do send a lot of mail too, so that I don't need that data per se. I just need the name and the address. But vacants and absentees have truly been responsible for like 75% of every deal I've ever done. So if you're looking for more deals, look no further. Find your vacants, find your absentees. All right, next slide, guys. We only have like a couple slides to go. The more offers you make, the more opportunity you're going to create. The more opportunity you create, the more deals you will do. This is what that mentor taught me in the beginning. Remember when I said that I struggled for like 3.5 months? And then I hired him, and he literally said, you can't talk to me until you do this one thing. That's the one thing. Make offers. All right? If you are scared to offer an elderly woman, and if you're a man, 40 grand for the house and she's asking 100, do like I said, sit down and explain why the offer is what it is. Not every time are they going to come around and say, oh, Dave, we're going to take your 40K offer, right? But they're not going to kick you out of the house because it's an insult when you just make somebody a low offer. But if you explain it to them, they're going to be much more receptive. Offers is the name of the game. The 3 things that we got to do: learn marketing and do it, make offers and follow up, right? I'm repeating this over and over again because that's it. That's all we do. All right, next slide. Coffees for closers. Have lots of conversations with sellers and offer to provide them with convenience in exchange for the discount. Remember earlier I said there's two types of motivation a seller's going to have to want to sell. They're either going to want the capital, which means they want the most money for their property, or they want convenience. Convenience comes in a lot of different things, right? For me, it's three things. It's cash, it's as is, and it's quick. But it could be helping them load a moving truck. I've done that. It could be picking somebody up and driving them to an accountant's office. I've done that. It could be paying the first month's rent on their apartment. I've done that, right? These are all different types of convenience. But for the most part, cash, quick, and as is are the convenience that they are seeking. And here's the beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be your cash. It just has to be a cash offer, all right? Next slide here. All right, doing deals is easy, making money is easy. This business is incredibly easy for the most part, right? You just have to learn that you need to do marketing. I said this twice already, I'm saying it one more time. Marketing, you need to make offers, and you need to learn how to follow up. Be persistent, make a lot of them. All right, next slide. Most investors struggle for two reasons. So anybody that is new and they're not having traction, or let's say that you've been at this for a minute and you're not having traction, all right? Number one, they do not treat this business as a marketing business, all right? I get students that come to me probably weekly that say, Dave, I can't find any motivated sellers. And I said, well, I've found 1,000 of them in the past 10 years. I'm not any better than you. I just know something you don't. Want to know? Yeah. Do more marketing. That's it. Now, don't talk to me until you make an offer. Just like my coach did to me. I'm not as aggressive as he is. But it's all about marketing. All right? And then number two, they don't have the proper mentors to hold their hands. It doesn't even have to be a mentor or a coach. It just needs to be a community. And you guys already have that right here, which is amazing. All right? So that's it. There's only two reasons. Okay. This is the thing that has changed the game for me. Clint, listen up, buddy. In the past 6 months, I've done 1,000 deals, and I don't want to do that ever again. It was so much work, all right? I want to do like 100 more, and then I don't really want to do deals anymore, honestly. I mean, we'll do some, but I want to slow way down. How is that going to be possible, all right? It's going to be possible by seller financing homes instead of renting them. All right, I've owned hundreds of rentals. Again, wholesaling to me is a means to an end. It's basically the deal that I don't want. I do a ton of marketing. I make a ton of friends. I run a ton of appointments. And I make a ton of offers. And if it makes for a good fix and flip or a good rental, I keep it. If it doesn't, I wholesale it. So obviously 70% of the things that I've got under contract, they didn't make good sense as rentals or flips for me. That's why I've done 700 wholesales out of the roughly 1,000 I've done. Not every deal needs to be a good rental or a good fix and flip. It's okay to be choosy, all right? Wholesaling is a means to an end. But what I'm starting to do over the last 6 months, and I'm really going to get aggressive with this, my goal is to do 150 of them in the next 18 months, okay, is what's referred to as seller financing on the exit. There's a guy named Scott Jelinek. I want to give Scott credit. I've never met Scott, but he wrote a book called The Art of the Slow Flip. It's an amazing book. I recommend every one of you guys read it. I've read it 5 times in the past 6 months. It's that good. And what he does is he teaches people how to buy houses like cars, 30 to 50K. And that's what I'm doing. I've done 11 of them in 6 months. I sold 8 of those. I'm working on 3 more as we speak. And then I sell them without repairing them. All right? Doing about 200-ish burrs in my life is a headache. It's great. I got a few $1 million net worth. But I'm constantly having to fix these properties up, deal with the contractors, and then go to the banks and deal with the banks. It's a whole lot of work. So this strategy allows you to do a burr, kind of. It's a little different, but it's very similar, without having to fix that property up. So you don't want to buy a shell. You want to buy something that's somewhat livable or maybe needs like 10 grand or less worth of work. You buy it like a car, you sell it like a house. You sell them without repairing them, number 2. Number 3, you mark them up 2 to 3x. So you buy it for 30 and you sell it for 90. How awesome is that? All right. Number 4, you offer 30-year financing. The 30-year mortgage is the biggest scam in the entire world. All right? And I have 2 of them on my own, and I'm working on paying those off. I'm talking personal residence. I have a second home. I'm very fortunate. But there are scams, right? Even at a low 3%, you're paying double. And at a 7, 8, 9, 10%, you're paying 3, 4 times the number. All right? But that's the common thing these days. Everyone does it. So offer to give people what they want. 30-year mortgages. It makes the payment less for them. But the first 10 years, like 80% of what they give you, maybe even 90%, is all interest. So that's what we're doing. We're becoming the bank without actually having money to lend. Okay? How do we buy them? We're using private and hard money, for anyone that's curious. I don't use any of my own money. I never have, and I don't plan to. All right? I'm using private and hard money to buy. Offer 30-year financing. We don't do any credit checks, but we do require, $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 down. That essentially is your screening process, right? If I'm going to sell, and I have a slide coming up here in a second with some quick little case studies. But if I buy a house for 30 and I want to sell it for 90, I'm going to say, hey, I need to get, $3,000 down. If you don't have that, then you don't qualify. But if you do, come into my office and you sign some paperwork and I'm going to give you the keys. I don't run any credit or do any of that stuff. Okay? I'm going to charge 10 to 14% interest. Now, this one you got to be a little careful with because there's this law out there called usury, and if they intend to live in that home, you have to abide by the law. In Missouri, it's 9%. So if it's an investor, the sky's the limit. I can charge them 10, 12, 14%. If they intend to live in the home, then I need to basically charge them 9% unless we mutually agree on a price above that. And I've done that. Right? But again, you got to be a little careful with that. But we can charge really, really high interest rates on these homes. Number 6, the goal is to pay them off in 5 to 7 years. Like I said, buy them like a car, sell them like a house. And then number 7 is collect payments for 30 years, or you cash out, meaning that they sell it, or they refinance it, or they just make aggressive accelerated payments and they pay you off. So this is what I've been doing over the last 6 months. Next slide, gentlemen. Here's an example. This is a house that I bought, 8563 Drury, cute little home. It's actually in North St. Louis City. I don't buy in North St. Louis City. I don't know what that's similar to you all in Omaha, but the crime is terrible. And I bought this one for $54,000. And my range is 30 to 50. I went over 4,000, but it's still very, very close. Okay, I use private money. I got a 7% interest rate, and I do a 10-year amortization so I can cash flow on these homes. But my goal is to pay them off in 5 to 7. But you always want to have a little buffer in there, okay? So I'm going to try to pay this thing off in 5 to 7 years. I owe 54. That's what I bought it for. I sold it for 110. The down payment is $3,500 that I collected from my buyer. No credit checks. These people moved from Delaware or something like that randomly, and they had terrible credit, but they had cash, and the guy was really handy. So he gave me $3,500 down. The mortgage is $106,500. I charged him 10%, 30-year loan, and I also am able to bill back taxes and sewer, which is amazing because if you do BRRRRs and you have rentals and you don't have lenders who escrow your taxes and your insurance, specifically the taxes, you get hit at the end of the year with a massive bill. Last year, I think we owed $110,000 or $120,000 in taxes that wasn't monthly. Luckily, we had saved like half of it, but I still had to come up with $60,000. It sucks, right? But with these, I can charge that back to those buyers. So I'm collecting principal, interest, taxes, and sewer. We don't do insurance for various reasons, but I do want to collect sewer because if they don't pay that bill, it's a super lien. It's probably similar here, I'd imagine, but in St. Louis, it's very specific. But I want to just take a quick glance at the analysis here. So AB is, me buying it. BC is me selling it, right? You guys are all familiar with the ABC, right? So I'm going to end up spending $82,000 on a $54,000 house if I pay it off in that 10-year period. If I pay it off quicker, it'll be less because I'm going to be at 7%. But I'm going to sell it at 30 years at 10%. So I'm going to end up collecting $336,000 because I'm also selling it at 110. So I'm not quite, let's see, my multiplier is 2.04. So I'm 2xing the price. All right. So the total profit over 30 years is $253,000. Now that's if they pay minimum payments for 30 years. One of the things that I do is I don't allow them to make an extra $50 or $80 or $100 a month payment because I am not a servicing company. I am not trying to deal with all the amortization schedules. So I say, hey, you want to make an accelerated payment? Great, bring me $5,000. Happily let you pay this off at any time. There's no prepayment penalties. There's just a prepayment minimum. It's $5,000. And sometimes I'll make an exception for 2 or 3. I'm a good guy. I'm not going to tell somebody no. But I'm not trying to take an extra $137 a month. No, I'm not doing that, right? So in this case, we have this little calculator. I would actually be happy to share this calculator with you guys. I built it. It's nothing crazy. I'll send it over to Ted, and he can email it out to you guys. We use it to basically see our total profit. We want to see a minimum cash flow of $150 to $200. Now, keep in mind, that's at a 10-year amortization on our buy. And if we just apply that cash flow to it, then we can typically get these paid off in 5 years. I'm only 6 months into this, so I can't, speak to paying these off. But I'm pretty confident I'll own 150 of these in the next 18 to 24 months. Next slide. I got one more little quick case study for you guys. This one was even better. Bought this one for $38,000, 5320 Fletcher, small little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. Bought it for $38,000. This one I have a 10-year amortization on my buy at a 9% rate. And if you include my taxes, my sewer, my insurance, it cost me $705 a month to pay this thing off over a 10-year period. I'm going to try to do it in 5. The sale was $89,000. The guy put $4,000 down. The market rent's $1,050. The reason we have that in there, they're not renting, but we have on this right and analysis, we have a rent check, and we don't want their payment to be more than, I think it's 105% of what they could rent. We want to make home ownership essentially cost effective for them, right? Sold it for $89,000, $4,000 down. They owe us $85,000, 10.8653%, 30-year loan. Total payments $950. So the funny thing about this is I actually calculate my interest rate last. Of everything I do on this calculation, I calculate my interest rate last. In some cases, I have to actually have 4 decimals because I want the monthly payment to be a round number, $950. And the only way I can get it to be $950, knowing my taxes and my sewer, and then, of course, my principal and my interest at that rate is to play with that number a little bit. So that's why I have sometimes crazy interest rates. $63,000 is going to be my total cost if I pay it over 10 years. I won't. I'll pay it over 5, so it'll maybe 7, but it'll be much faster. I'll collect $288,000. Cash flow will be $245,000, assuming I do it over 10. I probably won't take any of that cash flow, to be honest. Probably 0 cash flow for 5 years. But guess what happens when you don't have a bank anymore and you're collecting $950 a month? Even after you pay your taxes and your sewer, which they're actually paying, your only bill is your insurance. So you don't get to keep all of that because $150 that's going to go to pay the taxes and the sewer each month, and then you have insurance. But this little single-family home is going to be cash flowing like $750 a month in 5 years. It's pretty amazing. You can't do that with a rental. In fact, I was telling my good buddy Clint, I might not own any rentals in like 2 or 3 years. I might sell every one of them on this method right here. Or just liquidate them, take a couple $1 million and just go buy a bunch cash. I don't know. We'll see. What you got? Next slide. Yeah, he said, what happens when they don't pay? All right, we're going to come back to this one, actually. Next slide. I think there's only 1 or 2 left, guys. Okay, why seller financing on the exit? Number 1, I don't have to deal with the cost of repairs. Now, I don't buy shells. In fact, I did buy a shell because I was just testing the theory. I'm having trouble selling it. Go figure. So don't buy shells. Buy properties that are basically move-in ready or they need a couple grand, okay? Sorry, all the property managers in the room, but you don't really need a property manager if you're just collecting a payment. No one's calling me for a leaky toilet or a leaky roof. You own this house on paper. Make that very clear to them. And I have a friend who has 140 of these, and he just does it himself. He has an assistant, and it's actually a virtual assistant. And if you don't pay your rent, you evict them. The deed isn't transferring. They're sold on a contract for deed or via a trust. So if they don't pay you, you know, be human, give them some time, try to work with them a little bit. But at the end of the day, you just evict them. And you get them out, and then you resell the property. Okay? So why I love this. No cost of repairs, no property management costs, no fees or leasing. I like to do my own leasing, at least with these, because I want to meet the people, and I want that $3 or $5 grand. Pay me today, right? No capital expenditures. In fact, we're going to go back to the slide in a second here, because I've done 8 of these in 6 months. And of the 8 I've done, 4 of them have already invested at least 10 grand into the property that's in my name. The deed's in my name still. In fact, one property, they spent 20 grand already fixing this place up. Tenants will never do that. When's the last time a tenant put a roof on one of your houses, guys? Come on. Never, right? Never, ever, ever.
How
right?
has insurance worked on that?
OBIE.com. You just get insurance as if you're a landlord, because essentially you still own the home. And then in my contract for deed, I require them to get their own insurance. I don't enforce it, but I make them sign an initial and acknowledgement saying that they are aware of that particular paragraph within the contract for deed. And if there is any loss, they need to have their own insurance. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Get paid up front, get paid monthly, possibly later, meaning that they might close out and refinance it or sell it. You can't charge any interest on your rentals. You're just paying interest. 0 interest on your rentals, right? In fact, most of my rentals, I was talking to my buddy Clint about this a minute ago. You know, we used to make an average of like $275 a door back when rates were 4 or 5%. Now that they're like 7, 8, 9, we're basically breaking even on our rentals. Now, we've been very lucky that they've appreciated quite a bit, since the government just thinks printing money's, you know, cool, and they should just do that all the time. So we've made some good value there, but really we're just hedging. We're just hedging it, right? So, but regardless, without getting too political here, and we're not going to get into that, is that you can charge interest. So I have a friend, Clint knows the guy. His name's Mitch. He lives down in San Antonio, and he has over $20 million in overage. And I'm using overage because I don't have a better word for it. But let's say we buy a property for 30 and we sell it for 90. There's 60 grand in overage there. We're charging 10% on the whole 90. So let's say you pay the bank 7. You're arbitraging 3% on that 30. Not that great. But you're getting 10% interest on 60 grand that you never even had. Like, imagine walking into a bank and giving them 60 grand and getting a 10% CD. Pretty great, right? Well, why not get $20 million of overage at 10%? It's money that you're essentially creating out of thin air. It's pretty amazing. Just like the bank does. Yeah. So what I'm trying to teach you guys is, like, be more like the bank if you're not catching this, right? So charge the buyer taxes and sewer. You can charge them insurance too if you want. I don't. The reason is because I don't want them to have their own insurance, and I just don't want to be involved. I've had so many insurance claims in my life that I just don't want that headache. Now, if it does burn down, to get back to your question, sir, what happens if they don't pay you? You evict them. What happens if the thing catches fire? Well, you have your own insurance. What happens if they leave the house trash? Well, you've already collected money down, and you're going to sell it as is the next guy, and you're going to get it. So we just did this isn't a case study, but we just had a Burr rental turnover, and it was going to need about 7 grand worth of work to get it back to be rentable again. And I was getting ready to pull the trigger. You guys want to wrap up? I got 3 minutes. I'm going to go quick. 5 minutes max. All right. I was getting ready. Oh, perfect. I was getting ready to put the 7 grand into turning this over. What's up? Oh, okay. I was getting ready to invest the 7 grand into turning this property over. Okay. I didn't do that. I threw it up on Facebook Marketplace and just said for sale as is. And the very next day, some guy said, I'll take it. And I said, he's like, how much you want down? I was like, I don't know, 5. And he's like, cool. Showed up in my office 2 hours later with 5 grand. So not only did I not spend 7 to rent it and not charge interest, but I got paid $5,000. That's a $12,000 swing. What you got?
Just curious, your down payments you're asking for seems super low.
Charge them
makes
15.
it work.
Yeah.
But are you
You don't have
nervous
to do like me.
on
Do
the,
better.
Are you nervous on the getting it back thing? Like, I got it. Yeah, sell it again. But you've used the eviction term. But is it a loan
I haven't had to evict
contract,
anybody
or
yet.
is it
I'm
like
6
a
months
lease
into that.
option, or
No, it's a contract for deed.
okay.
Yeah. So that's a great
it's
question.
their property, right?
Not necessarily.
But they're
The
filed,
deed stays in your name, especially if you're like me and you use somebody else's money. I have underlying debt.
right?
So I have a mortgage
Whether it's a bank
or a note.
private.
I mean,
yeah,
it's
either way.
similar, right?
Yep,
Could be a
yep.
bank, could be a private lender, it could be a hard money lender,
Sure.
and then that might even change. So the deed stays in your name. You sell it on a contract for deed. So they don't actually get the deed until they pay you every nickel that they owe you.
But you can't then, like in Nebraska, you can't evict. Now you have to foreclose.
Say
So
this
the
again?
legality of that, you can't evict them. You have to foreclose on them.
No, if they have less than 20% equity, you can evict them in the state of Missouri. I don't know the Nebraska
Not
law.
Nebraska. It's an eviction versus like a lease option.
It's not a lease
eviction.
option. It's a contract
So
for deed.
Contract for deed would be
Okay.
foreclosure, regardless
Okay.
of the amount
Well,
in.
that's a hurdle. So what though?
But-
What about the 20
Right.
million in overage with 10%?
Yeah,
That's the
big
goal,
deal,
is it not?
But 3,500.
I'm not arguing with you.
3,500 for a deposit.
So what does it cost to foreclose on somebody here? $300?
A lot
Why is
more.
it that much?
Yeah, it's expensive. It's attorneys, titles.
Okay, well
Just
then.
just curious.
No,
just
no, no.
asking,
I'm
just
so
curious.
happy. I don't
No.
know the laws here. That's why I'm asking. So if I was you, I would still do this. I would just charge 8 or 9 or 10 grand down. That's the only difference.
That was
Yeah.
what I thought initially.
So-
like that's a super small down payment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's
Now,
like
I've
okay, if
gotten
you get
some
it back and
that
you
are
have
more.
to pay to get it back, and
Yeah.
then they've trashed the property because they could get in for $3,000. It's
100%.
like, oh shit, they did $20,000 worth of damage.
So here's the thing.
But you haven't experienced that
None
yet.
of these properties were occupancy ready that I've done. I've done 8. Not a single one was occupancy ready. They
we
all
said close.
Say that again?
You
They
said-
were, absolutely. But, 3-4 grand typically minimum. Some of these needed 10 or 15. And what I don't want to do is charge them 10 grand, 15 grand, and then them have no more money to be able to make the repairs, and then they move in, and then guess who's calling you because you have people living in your property without the
Big
permit.
goal is you don't need to rehab
Yeah.
at all.
So, like I said earlier, I try to make friends
And
with
you don't
these
have property
people,
management.
and I see how much money they have, liquid, to fix up the property, and then I do the quick math in my head. Oh, you got 15 grand. This thing needs 8. All right, cool. Well, I need 4 or 5 down. That leaves you enough money to get the repairs done, and then I make sure they don't move into the property prior to the occupancy. In St. Louis, we don't have to evict Missouri unless they have 20% or more equity, which is going to take them a long time.
Oh yeah, that's
Right?
big.
In the state of Nebraska, it's different. I'm glad you brought this up.
So when you say
So
you
just
see,
charge more up front. So
when you
what?
say you see how much they have, is that like are you asking for bank statements? And all
No,
that
not at
kind of
all. I'm
thing,
just
or-
asking them straight up. What's your name?
I'm Brad.
Brad, how much do you have to fix this property up? You're gonna need to pay me a down payment, and it probably needs 10 grand. You got 15,000 liquid? Yes or no?
No, but I mean I don't need 10 grand to fix it up. I can fix that for 2, and then my sweat equity.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But you're not allowed to live in it, and I need 5 grand down.
Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and that conversation could go a million ways.
Right.
But that's the
absolutely.
vetting that we do. And I'm sure, Brad, that somebody is going to trash one of these houses. I'm confident of it. But I got other people that are putting 20 grand into new roofs and windows and water heaters and HVACs, and I also have insurance on these if I need it.
You've cut out your construction and your property management.
That's the main 2 things. And really, not only am I excited about that, and again, I'm not trying to hate on any of the property managers here because you may still be able to work on these type of things by all means, but the goal is to get $20 million of overage, and again, I don't have a better word for that, right, at 10%.
That's a good fit.
Yeah, at 10%, which isn't going to be that hard, really,
No, just
But that's
quick
crazy that you
aside,
guys have
man,
a...
appreciate.
Yeah.
I've heard you on multiple podcasts, and
Thanks.
your ability to make things super simple.
Thank you.
Like you break down like, oh, is wholesaling illegal? No, you just can't market publicly
Right.
your interest in a property.
Thank
That's
you.
not. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you
no,
do
I
a really good
appreciate it.
job of that. and I
That's
appreciate
crazy though that it's
but-
$4 grand here, and that you to do A foreclosure.
Foreclosure's
And then you're
expensive.
forced to do a foreclosure on the contract for
and
deed.
to actually kick somebody out of
Yeah.
a property.
So a lease option, I mean, I guess would be a way to prevent that. But the problem with the lease option is when the toilet's leaking or the roof's leaking, they're not going to be the ones putting the money into fixing it. It's a lease with the option to buy. I've done a couple dozen lease options, and not a single one of them has optionated or
Generally,
exercises
the only
the term.
difference here, generally, from the lease option to the deed is you're probably covering property taxes and insurance, as opposed to dodging the property tax
And
part.
maintenance.
No.
Okay,
no.
well then if you
do
can
the
avoid
lease with
that,
option
then yeah.
with the
I mean, and there's
terms
lots
that
of ways
they
that you can
cover.
do it, and that's
Sure.
the beautiful thing about real estate
Yeah.
and creative real estate. Absolutely. So
No,
I think there's
but
one more.
appreciate you. I'll get
No,
out
thanks,
of it.
Brad. Absolutely. Let's get a beer. One more slide, and then we're done. Guys, thanks for bearing with me, and I appreciate the kind words, Brad. One more. Okay, this is it. What if they pay it off? All right, this is the question that I always get from my students. And we've only been doing these for 6 months. What if they pay it off? Well, you bought it for 30, you sold it for 90. Doesn't that seem like that's the best case scenario, not the worst case scenario? Pretty simple. Right. And you had no maintenance, no property management, none of the headaches along the way. So I'm really passionate and excited about this strategy. Hopefully you guys are too. But if you want to talk about wholesaling, fix and flips, burr, we can do that too.
What's your reasoning for the 30 to 50,000 purchase price? Would you do $150,000 houses?
Yes and no. I want to be able to, that's an excellent question. Get the book, The Art of the Slow Flip by Scott Jelinek. I've never met this guy, but I love the book, and I'm running with the strategy. And, you know, people have been seller financing homes for 200 years. He didn't create that. He just got the niche of this, you know, lower end. So what was the question again, sir? I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. I'm sorry.
You buy them for 30
Oh,
to 50.
low
Would
price
you buy
points.
for more?
It's difficult to be able to make enough spread to pay it off in 5 to 7. So I have a house that I bought and I rehabbed and I tried to sell it and I couldn't sell it. And then I rehabbed it again and did a nicer rehab and tried to sell it and couldn't sell it. And then I freaking rehabbed it a third time and I couldn't sell it. And I'm all into this thing for 220 grand. And I just sold it as a slow flip for 250 grand. I got 10,000 down. They owe me 240. I owe 220. There's basically no spread there. But I got no property management. I got no maintenance. And I'm arbitraging the rate a little bit, right? It's not the best slow flip, higher price point, like your question, because I'm not going to pay that off in 5 to 7 years. It's going to take me 30. The only reason I did that is because I couldn't sell it anyway. I was stuck with it.
What'd you buy that for originally?
80 or 90, something like that.
So could
Yeah.
you done that before?
Before?
Before
Yeah,
the three
so
flips?
yes and no. I could have possibly, but the strategy works the best. 30 to 50K houses that need like 10 grand or less, because you can literally mark them up 3 times. Some people in I'm not in Scott's group. He's got his own little mastermind. They're marking these things up 4x. They're buying them for 20, selling them for 80 or 100, 5x. And then they're charging that interest rate on top. So can you do it? There is a guy in St. Louis that does this with $250,000 to $300,000 homes. And it's a kind of a combination of a lease option and a contract for deed, similar to what we were talking about a minute ago. But his payoff's 30 years, right? He's going to have a whole lot of equity, but I've been in this for a minute, 20 years total, 10 years full time, and you can't eat equity.
Right.
And my cash flow evaporated. I am tired of being rich on paper.
Right.
It's not any fun. I want 50 to 100 grand a month, and this, in my opinion, is the quickest way to get to that.
Cool. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Excellent question.
Yep.
Thank you. Are we going to have some drinks? All right. Hey, guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all.
So if you buy for 30 and you sell for 90, on paper, aren't you showing a $60,000 profit that you have to pay
That's
taxes
a
on in
great
year
question.
one?
So what we are doing, and I asked my accountant because I like to do things by the book, and I was very transparent with my accountant. I said, this is what I'm doing. How does this work? And she said, well, you are just going to claim at the end of the year the amount of money, just like a bank would do, the amount of money that you collected in principal and the amount of money that you collected in interest, and that interest is going to be interest income. You're not actually having to claim a profit that you didn't make.
Because we did this exact thing in Iowa, and we had to claim the difference between what we bought it for and what we sold it for, and we had to pay taxes on that in year one.
Okay, so this isn't like, okay, that's crazy. Nah, we're not doing that. You got to understand, though, too, the closings are at my office with me and you, if you're the buyer. This isn't going through a title company. It's not being recorded. Like, the deed's not transferring. There's no mortgage. I have a mortgage, and the deed's in House Sold Easy. That's my business's name. And Cotton here is going to come in with $5,000. Colton? I'm sorry, bro. Colton. I'm so sorry. It's the fucking light. Colton here is going to come in with $5,000, and he's going to sign a contract for deed, and I'm going to give him the keys, and I'm going to be like, Colton, have fun with this house. Welcome to homeownership. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And Colton's going to be like, nobody else would give me a loan or a house. Dave's the man. This is great. It's a win-win. And he's going to go fix it up. Maybe he doesn't. I've had 3 of the 8 that I've done, people that are just buying them, fixing them, and renting them. I'm fine with that too, because I make sure, my slides are gone, that I'm selling them below what they can rent for. And if they fix them up really nice, then they can even rent them for $200 or $300 more than that number. And they can go make $300 or $400 as a Burr landlord. I've been in the Burr game for 8 years, 7 years now. I'm not trying to tell you guys don't go do Burr. Here's the question I ask. Do you want to be rich in 30 years? Maybe it takes you 10 or 15, or do you want to spend 2 years working really hard and make 30, 40 grand a month? And I just feel like this is just a quicker strategy to do that, personally. I'm still going to do Burrs. I wrote a book on it. But I'm not going to go do 100 of them in the next 3 years. I might do 5 or 10. But I'm going to try to do 100 of these in the next 3 years. I want that $20 million of overage like Mitch. That's really what I want. Think about that. $20 million making 10% that you didn't have to earn or save? That's what these banks are doing. So, now, you guys have different rules in Nebraska. Contract for deeds, I guess, I don't know, require foreclosures. Just charge more money up front and you solve your problem.
Hey, Dave, we have one question over here. Right
Yes,
here.
sir. What's up, man?
I just wanted to finish the evening and ask the crowd, how many people are glad now they don't have to pay tax on unrealized capital gain?
That's right.
There you go, buddy.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks again for listening to me jibber jabber for over an hour and a half. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And then I got a book.
Well, I got an idea for that. Okay. Yeah. So, David's got 3 books we're going to give away. I got another book we're going to give away. How about we have people give the podcast a review, and then
I love that.
because we're trying to really push that right now. Yeah. So, David, just so you know, he's on REIA Radio, episode 114. He's been on Alex Pardo's podcast. He's been on Jeff Cohn's team building podcast, and he's been on Chris Pomalu and Colin Schwartz's Keeping It Real Estate podcast also. Yes. So we have 4 books to give away, and if you pull out your phone and you do a written review on whatever format, it'd either be Amazon or on REIA Radio, give us a 5-star review and written review for REIA Radio, and come up here and show it to us. You can pick what book you want. How about that? So as soon as you guys get that review, run up here, and you guys can pick the book you want.
This one's going to have a little less value now after the slow flip talk. But.
Hey, it is what it is.
That's right.
Okay, so got your phones out? We got 4 books to give away. Raise your hand as soon as you guys get the review written, and we got 4 books here. So just type in REIA, and it'll be the first thing that pops up. Man. Going. You got one? Okay. She says no. She says no. Yeah. Yeah. You can just say, Owen looks way older than Ted, but I love the podcast. He loves that stuff. Okay, I see some fingers. Anybody got it yet? Oh man, this is exciting. So hey, run up here as you got it. I'm gonna keep on my notes here as you guys are doing it. Also, Ram is going to give away a book. Ram's got a bucket, and he's going to run around real quick. If you have a business card, or you filled out the card on your table, but just throw it in his bucket as he comes through. As soon as he goes through all the tables, we'll do that drawing. Okay, anybody got the reviews written yet? Okay, see, this is a great idea. I've been trying to figure out a way to get more reviews. I want to give a big thank you to Realty One Group Sterling and Frankel for being a drink sponsor and event sponsor tonight. We're grateful for your support and keeping us hydrated/dehydrated tonight, so we appreciate that very much. Also, our next event will be on December 3rd. Oh, we got a card there? Okay, so we're going to do these drawings first. Well, again, if you get the review written, bring it up here for these other books. But this is for Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, one of what's. We have Paul Kettle. He's with Nebraska Realty, and he's committed to our clients, invested in our community, integrity with everything we do. Paul, you still here? Okay. Paul. And then, so you get to pick the first of these two books over here, an orange one. We have Cody Hamling, and where's Cody? You still here? Okay. Got two books over there, guys. Okay, has anybody written a review yet on the podcast to get a chance for these books over here? Raise your hand. Got one? Okay, we gotta come up here and you gotta pick the book you want. So come on up. Yeah, you count. You never written a review for your own podcast? That's terrible. Angela, shout out your business real quick.
Yeah, Angela Markham with Set the Stage. We do professional home staging and home furnishing sales. So if you want add some design eyes to your investment properties, we can fully furnish and do all the staging and stuff to midterm rentals, short-term rentals, that sort of thing.
And thank you for, which you can go? You can go 3 Pillars of Wholesaling, Ultimate Guide to Wholesaling Real Estate, The Bird Method. These are all David Dodge. Or you can go Dan Thurman's book, Off Balance on Purpose. I think you're going to hurt Dave. Oh, you're going to go with the blue book? Don't only do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. We got 3 books left. Okay, come up here and pick your book if you got the review written. Bring it up. I see a hand. Come on. Pick the book you want. You're the next runner-up here. You know, you can review your own husband's podcast, too. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Which book do you want? 3 Pillars, The Bird Method, and the Wholesaling. You got to feel them, the aura. Yes, take it. There we go. Thank you. We got 2 more books left. Denless. You never gave us a 5-star review?
This is my second review.
Pitiful. Okay.
Does it count?
Yes. So
Okay.
wholesaling, real estate, or 3 Pillars. Okay, we got 1 book left. Last one. Anybody? Last person? This is Wholesaling Real Estate, the Ultimate Guide. Who's got a review written? And this is all yours. Man, you guys we're going slow. No. But you could do it on Audible. I'm going to have a whole bunch of books next month, by the way, to do this again. Okay, so while we're going here, first off, as we wrap up, I want to take a moment to welcome the visitors and new members that are joining us tonight. We're excited to have you as part of the member group. We hope tonight inspired you to connect, learn, and grow with real estate. To help everyone network more effectively, let's know who's here tonight. Connie talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm going to call out the different investment areas, and if you're involved in that category, please raise your hand. And that way, the newcomers can spot the people they want to connect with, especially when we're having drinks and having a good time. So as we get started, is there anybody that owns multifamily properties in the room? Okay, those are the multifamily owners. Anybody has single family? Where's our single family investors? Okay, anyone working with mobile home parks, not trailer parks, mobile home parks? Dave? Oh, yes. No. You got mobile home parks? Oh, no. Okay. How about storage units? Anybody doing storage unit investing? So 2 people. Commercial property. Anybody have commercial property? Where are our contractors in the room? Any contractors? Any contractors looking for a business? Give it a yeehaw. Good, good. We got people looking for business. Anybody investing outside of Nebraska? This doesn't count. You got to get the hand proud. There you go. Okay, wholesalers. Any wholesalers in the room? Okay, got a couple. And what about our rehabbers and flippers? And where's our short-term, mid-term rental investors? Where is our real estate syndicators? Any doing real estate syndications? Got some maybes. What about hard money or private money lenders? Anybody lending money out here? I see 2. I see 3. What about crowdfunding? Anybody doing crowdfunding? That's always an interesting one. Land developers? Any land developers in the room? Property managers? Any property managers in the room? It's got 3. These are good people to know. 1031 exchanges. Anybody have experience with 1031 exchanges? What about note investing? Anybody do note investing? Any real estate coaches in the room? What about investment real estate agents? Anybody do investment real estate? Yes. Is there anything I missed? Are there any investments that you do that I didn't mention, just so I can add it to the list for next time? That was short term. Yeah, we said that one. Yeah. International, anybody? Well, that's outside Nebraska, right? International investors. Anybody outside of the USA? Just one. I like it. So look around the room. It's packed with expertise and opportunity, whether you're new or experienced. There's someone in this room that is working along the journey that you want to be. So, and everybody talks in this room. That's like every time somebody comes to Omaha, they're like, hey, everybody here shares so much. But when you go to these other cities, they hold it right to the chest, and they don't want anybody to know what the hell they're doing. So that's what separates us from everybody else. If you talk to one of these people, I guarantee you they open up, and I will too. So that's what it's all about. Last, we'd like to open up the floor. If you have an announcement, a deal, or something you want to ask the group, this is a chance to share. You have an upcoming event you want to share. It's all open, so that it's an open mic. Just try to keep it under 30 seconds. Once we had somebody take over the mic for 20 minutes, and that was like crazy. So 30 seconds. Sherry, it's all you, girl. And Sherry's a sponsor of the Omaha REIA also.
Schlick Construction is having their 20th anniversary. Come, let Mike and Jerry buy you drinks, beers, food. It is the Thursday before Thanksgiving, the November 20th, at the office, 4 to 7. And Mike and Jerry got their roots here. I mean, they are the REIA. They've flipped 300 plus houses.
Or more than that.
Jerry does short sales. They're kicking ass in Florida right now, but they will be back for this. Come back and let us buy you drinks. But if you will, please give us RSVP, because I want to make sure you have drinks.
I'll be there.
And foods.
Sherry, I'm there.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. And if you guys don't know Mike and Jerry, give them a shout out. When I was working for Thrasher for about 3 or 4 years, I was checking out their foundations on their properties, and they recruited me out to be their marketing director. So I worked for them for 9 years, and then became a business partner with them. I helped them find over 300 flips while I was with them in under 6 years. Jerry coached me and helped me with everything I know today. And so I give them all the credit. They're great people. And if you want to get a chance to know them, this is a great opportunity, and they're open books on everything they do. So Mike and Jerry Schlickburn, definitely an event you want to check out. And thank you guys for being sponsors for over 4 years now, so appreciate it. Anybody else on the mic? Yeah, go ahead.
Hey guys, it's Mo with Realty One Group Sterling. And I do have some investment properties, hi Ron, that I'd like to run through with you real quick. I do have a few listings at I say a few because there's 3 townhouses at the location of approximately 636 and 630 North 46th Street. And these are townhomes that can actually be purchased as single-family residences, or you can go ahead and buy these to go ahead in short-term Airbnb, long-term type of lease. 3748 North 43rd, single-family. So if you're interested in investing in multifamily, we also have 1101 Bancroft Street and 4812 North 45th as well. So look me up if you're interested in, again, townhomes, single-family, and multifamily homes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more announcements, deals, or a question for the group before we move on? This is your chance. It's your mic. Okay. Before we go, I do want to give a shout out to DB Video. Can you guys give a round of applause for the video and crew here? This crew takes a night away from the family. They set all this up. We start setting up sometimes at noon for this event, and due to our Dennis, when he started this company, he started off running my iPad that flipped up, and because he thought he needed somebody to watch the iPad, and that led to this. And he's like, "Hey man, let me help you out. Let me help you out." Another piece of equipment, another piece of equipment, another piece of equipment. Now we created a successful business. If you know somebody that wants to do podcasting or needs an event audio or video or a wedding or anything needs video, talk to Dennis back there. He does offer the REIA members a discount. So please talk to him, give him some support and love. He's got a great crew. And Aiden back there next to him is our new producer for the podcast. Now that Dennis has stepped back, Aiden's kicking ass. So we appreciate you too, Aiden. We love to embarrass him. He actually drinks old fashions with us in the podcast studio, so we like him. The best thing you can do to support us there too is we do put all this on YouTube Live, and we do share those links. And if you don't get a chance, please subscribe to those links and share it. Or if you just want to review, we have every speaker that we've had since April 2020 on our YouTube channel. So you guys, it's a plethora